Hello guys, it's your boy Asmongold. Oh no, wait, it's not. He's too busy playing Final Fantasy 14. Nah, it's not your boy Asmongold. It's your boy Sirigath, aka Shieldcoomer. Today we're gonna be doing probably the hardest key I've done this whole season. A key that I've been wanting to time for quite some time. And I started it off by making a mistake, and I didn't realize we're gonna skip this tree, which is just embarrassing because that's what we talked about before the key. But I sort of, I don't know what I was thinking. I was focused on something else, so I wasn't really thinking about it. Either way, first boss, Tyrannical Wake, Theater of Pain, 19, Sanguine, Storming, Tormented. You guys can see affixes on your own. Probably one of the harder bosses in general. This one, I know some people will disagree, and I think if you disagree, then the fact that Blizzard literally just nerfed it this morning, which is after I've done this key, just to be, you know, I'm not trying to brag here, you know, not trying to make it look like a big deal, but I timed this key before the boss got nerfed. Just saying, you know, just throwing it out there. Nah, I'm kidding. I mean, I'm not kidding. That is true, but it doesn't matter that much. They did nerf this boss quite a lot, actually. In my opinion, it's a pretty good nerf. But yeah, this boss is tough. It used to, you know, a lot of people thought this boss is free, and then they nerfed it by removing that one dude that does the thingy, and then they put back the dude that does the thingy, and then they didn't revert the changes they made. So basically the boss got like indirectly buffed after it should have been nerfed, you know, just your typical Blizzard things, you know, nothing to see here, don't worry. Oh, this is too strong. Let me just nerf it by taking away something, and then realizing I over nerfed it by taking away that something, so I'm gonna buff it. Oh well, it's still not good enough. Okay, well, let me just revert the initial change, and now the buff stayed while it was already too strong. And yeah, just okay, don't even get me started, I'm already triggered. Either way, let's talk about the fight. Really, as this, there's not much we can do here. If you're playing Shaman, there's a lot of interrupting that you can help out with, but as a Discipline Priest or a Holy Priest, the only thing you can do is heal. Watch the tank, pay attention to him. You see I've already used Tuft, I have already used Pinch Up, and right now I've used Dome, I have used Rupture to just put shields on him. The tanks take a lot of damage in this fight, and this is a warrior tank, by the way. Warriors are tanky, dude. They're really resistant to physical damage, and this boss does a lot of physical damage. This boss, Decia, slaps hard, and these two guys, they slap hard with magic, so you gotta be careful. Luckily Gold is a really good tank. This is, by the way, a full guild run. All the people in this key are guildies, so shout out to them. Both the Delbur, the mage, and Gold, the warrior, are higher Raya than me, so they've been definitely, their experience and their gameplay has definitely helped timing this key. I don't think we could have done it with just any random group this smoothly, at least. That being said, it was still challenging, still very hard. We don't normally push keys together, so some challenges were there to be, you know, overcome. 5.5k HPS is a lot for Disc Priest, by the way. For one fight, that's a lot of HPS for Disc Priest. We don't usually heal that much. We can heal a lot during our CDs, but once we're like overall is usually low in longer fights. So that was a well-played fight, is what I'm trying to say. And I'm not, you know, I'm not like really trying to, you know, suck my own ice cream. But what I'm trying to say is that you have to heal that much, and I still almost lost tank like 2 or 3 times if you pay attention to the fight. So you just really need to set up a really good rotation for CDs, and if you're lucky enough to have comms with your tank, make sure he's popping CDs when you don't have anything for him, otherwise your tank will die on that fight. It is very easy to lose tank as a Disc Priest on that fight, just gotta be careful. My suggestion is to pay attention, like keeping out the dot on all 3 guys, so you get that passive HPS, plus like always shielding the tank, and then of course shadow manning as much as you can. And here the first mistake of the dungeon is gonna happen, so pay attention. Very interesting. I said we should pull the Sogodon guy as well, and we did. And the first thing he did when he came, he clapped, and combination of minus 50 physical reduction, meaning, sorry, plus 50 physical, essentially minus 50 physical reduction. So basically, physical attacks deal more damage, combined with Arbalist. That hit Dulbur and me, and I toofed myself, that's why I lived, but Dulbur died to AoE attack, so that's just something to be careful. They're really, I didn't anticipate it, so like you could argue it's my mistake, could argue, but at the same time he could have ice blocked as well, so like it's not just my mistake. But what I could have done is, if I had anticipated that much damage, which I didn't, by the way, that's why I'm saying it's partially my mistake, but if I had anticipated that damage, I could have used Dome or Shadow Fiend. I think I had both of them up there. So maybe just like a bigger CD commitment. But yeah, here we decide to keep chain pooling. You know, this week the affixes really don't prevent chain pooling being possible, so that's like one of the good things where you can save a lot of time, since in Tyrannical usually most of the time is wasted on bosses. As always, when there's AoE damage going on, what you want to do as a Disc Priest is you want to use your Radiance or Rupture or Dome and just keep people up. My favorite combo for these like small controlled amount of damages is a simple Radiance into Rupture, Solace, Mind Blast, Smite, Smite, Smite. That usually helps keep people alive very, very nicely. And that's about it, yeah. This guy is really sort of free if people dodge stuff. If they don't, on a higher keys, most of the time they will be one-shot. You can see my weak aura here showing your stuff. Just don't get interrupted, but honestly as a disc, even if you do, you're gonna get interrupted either on Shadow or on Holy Tree, and you will always have something else to cast in another tree. So that's like one of the really, really big advantages we have as a disc that often people will overlook, but we have two trees. So skill trees is like our abilities come from both Holy and Shadow Tree. We're basically a mix of Holy Priest and Shadow Priest. That's the whole concept of Disc Priest nowadays. So it's like using shadow spells to heal in a way through damage, right? So that's really good. And as you guys know, this pull is notoriously difficult. This is one of the most difficult pulls in the whole like in the whole Shadowlands as a whole. Like the dungeon itself, it's just the captain in combination with two Arbalists, and the fact that they randomly shoot these arrows is really, really sometimes too much to overcome. This is on non-fortified week. Look how hard they're hitting. Imagine fortified. These guys are a one-shot on fortified. So I'm not gonna go into how you deal with this on fortified, not now at least. Hopefully I'll be able to time fortified next week as well, and then I'll talk about it. But even on non-fortified weeks, I have used some big cities for this, and it's all about killing them ASAP plus keeping people alive. Of course, your job is not to kill them ASAP, but you can still contribute. Don't forget, as a Disc Priest, we can do some nice damage, so don't be afraid to do it. You can see there 2.4k is my DPS for that pack, if I'm not mistaken. Not perfect, not bad either, not too shabby, very, very okay. Wreck is probably the easiest of these mini mobs, bosses. I used to call them mini bosses until the Tormented started showing up, but now that lieutenants are a thing, I call them mini bosses, so I feel weird calling these guys mini bosses as well. So I'm just calling them by name from now on. Wreck the Hardened, which is exactly what I become when your mom something. I don't know. There's a your mom joke somewhere in there. I just can't quite put my finger on it. And also, that's what your mom said last night. Never mind. Okay, sorry guys, I apologize. Okay, I'll keep it serious. Alright, going into the fight, of course you want to have CDs up. Xav the Unfallen, pretty difficult boss, because on Tyrannical Banner has more HP, so it's not as easy to burst it, and as I say that, we absolutely melt it. But you really need to kill the banner before this jump. And the reason is the banner slows, and it progressively makes bigger and bigger slows. And also one more thing to note is when the deafening crash happens, if you're casting, you're gonna get interrupted. Once again, for us as discs, that's not that big of a deal, but I would still rather not get interrupted if I can avoid it. So just save your Solace, your Shadow Word Death, and your Shadow Word Pain, and your shields for that, right? Because that's when you want to use these abilities that are instantly usable, and when you can move and stuff like that. So either way, we go into the fight. The whole gist of fight is to basically plan your CDs, because the person that wins duel deals more damage. So you want people to not pop on start. Sometimes depending on obviously the class profile. This is DPS things. Like as a healer, this boss fight is pretty straightforward. There's not that much to heal. People need to dodge. If people get hit by the things, they die. And you will. One thing I will say though is notice how I used Shadow Fiend on the banner when people were in duel. And see, I have Kyrian boon. You might be thinking, why is he not using his Kyrian boon? Don't you want to put it on CD? You might be right, but I will show you why I'm not using it. So notice how I'm using Solace when I'm moving, so I don't get interrupted, plus so I don't get interrupted, and I can use it while moving. Same with renewing the dot. And here is why I'm saving boon to kill banner when the two guys are on a duel, right? So because now I'm killing banner. See, only me and Dolbur, we kill banner. That is huge, because now when the guys come back, they can just focus boss and pop their CDs for the boss. That is how you need to think about these things. And I think obviously we could have maybe killed boss without it, but it would have been much scarier. And here I toofed myself, because I didn't think I'll make it, I think. And yeah, here I PI'd, maybe not really a necessary PI, but I just wanted to get this boss over with. And you can see how like banner is not easy to kill at all. Even with all the DPS here, it's just not easy to kill it when people are not in their CDs. The banner is no joke. Here I throw like a nice little radiance, and boss is done. So normally if the boss was still alive, like after this, I would pop Rupture there, not Radiance, but I used Radiance because I didn't want to waste Rupture, because I knew the boss will be dead by the time he finishes his like these 3 casts for sure. So yeah. Anywho, moving on. Moving on. We're going to. Oh god, we're going to Kulta Rockwing. Okay, this had like quite a funny situation that you guys will see soon. But yeah, basically here, just be careful. Here the tank asked for us to come for intervene so he can close the distance faster. So that's why we all moved. Otherwise, you want to stay in line of sight. And here I popped Rupture. This is a difficult pack, very dangerous. Don't underestimate these guys, especially now on Sanguine. Look at how nasty this is. They just leave this Sanguine in this tight corridor together with Storming. Ugh, what a disgusting week. It's I don't think this week is hard. I think it's very, very easy actually. But besides it being Tyrannical, obviously. Tyrannical is hardcore mode, but it's relatively easy week in terms of like these like Storming, Sanguine, not the worst combo, but sometimes you can get really unlucky with Sanguine. And if you guys noticed on that pool where we have 2 Arbalists and the Captain before Xav, we had like a really unlucky moment. If you want to rewind, go and take a look again, because I didn't mention it when it happened, but Arbalists were staying in Sanguine and basically healed up to full, and that's why they stayed alive much longer, and that's why I was forced to commit like more cities than I would like to. So just a bit unlucky, and that will happen again in this dungeon, by the way. So pay attention to like Sanguine positioning and how we deal with it and stuff like that, because I don't always have time to talk about it, because I want to cover like healer stuff and this perspective things. And there's like obviously a lot to talk about, and I can't always cover everything. I'm assuming that people that are looking at these keys know what they're doing and know these sort of things. But if you don't, for whatever reason, and if you're not for whatever reason, it's normal to not know things. I mean, to be fair, not too long ago I was a pretty big noob, so I can't really, you know, I'm not trying to be rude or anything, but if you guys don't know something, don't be afraid to ask, no matter how, there's no stupid questions, no matter how silly it may seem, no matter how insignificant it may seem to you. Sometimes what makes like a difference between really good players and like mediocre players is like these subtle differences. And look now, like my camera got a little bit buggy and both me and Ugly died for absolutely no reason, and that was really embarrassing. And it cost us quite a bit of time. Now if you notice, it adds 10 seconds to the timer because 2 deaths. And let's see, 15, 37, 35 is when we died. Let's see when we'll reach. We reach at 16, so basically almost 1 full minute wasted just because of this one tiny mistake. That's quite a bit. Oh, plus a res because he didn't res. Oh no, that's like a minute and a half. Okay, I actually thought it was like 30 seconds or something, and I wanted to make a point how 30 seconds can be a big deal, but this is even worse. This was like for sure a minute, maybe a minute and a half. Either way, okay, this guy is very scary. So we talked about this a little bit. I said save all CDs, let me just heal here, and I just said like I'll heal a lot here because I want him to save CDs for the other pull, the pull with the Guardian and with the guys, because that pull is probably one of the most disgusting pulls again in all of the Shadowlands dungeons from healer perspective.
Bone Spear.
And I don't know how DPS players see that pull, probably not as bad, like there's only one interrupt, and other than that you just blast. But as a healer, healing Soulstorm plus the debuff plus the other thing is just like so obnoxious. And not obnoxious actually, it's just straight up difficult. I feel like you cannot waste a single cast, and you need to have the RCDs there. You need damage reduction, which is also one of the reasons why Mistweaver, by the way, is not meta at the moment, and Resto Druid is because they lack the ability to, no matter their output, the damage reduction is always going to be more valuable. But now I've kind of like dived into a whole other story, and I don't want to go there at the moment, so let's just focus on this. So yeah, you can see me how I used a lot here. I used Shadowfiend, I used Dome, I used Rupture. That's literally like 4 CD, no, 1, 2, 3 CDs for this, because I also used, I think I used PI for this as well, right? Yeah. I don't want to go and double check, you guys can go and do that, but I'm pretty sure I used PI for this as well, so, because I told them to blast, you know, and I think Ugly got PI here. So just like something to keep in mind, we did a very good job there. So except like Barrier was maybe a little bit preemptive, but it was preemptive because I wanted to have time to Rupture as well. Here, dodge Swirlies, don't need these Swirlies. These Swirlies one shot on Fortified, on Tyrannical, they deal a lot of damage because it's 19. Just don't be that guy, don't make healer's job even more difficult than it is. When you're playing with a Disc Priest, especially if you're a DPS player and you're watching this video for whatever reason, and you're thinking like, how can I, maybe you have like a bad healer in a group, or he's a good healer but you want to make him an even better healer, the best way to help us discs is just avoid damage. I know it sounds weird, but honestly when I play Holy, like people taking damage, I didn't even mind that much. Like I was actually happy because I was like, fuck, give me something to heal, dude, please. Oh, I said Fudgeboard again. Okay, my bad, sorry guys. I'm too lazy to go and cut it out because I was like in the middle of the rant, so I guess I'll just have to live with that and get demonetized. It's okay. Demonetized from what? I'm just kidding. I don't even learn anything from this. But yeah, it's essentially the best way to help this priest heal and just contribute in general to your keys to avoid damage. And you might be asking yourself like, then why do I even have a healer? Well, you know, the point of Disc is that we kind of deal a lot of damage if we're allowed to deal damage. Our damage is, I would argue, almost on par with Holy Pala, overall at least. Of course, Holy Pala has that big burst with Wings and with Ashen Hollow, but similarly to that, Shadowfiend for us deals a lot of damage when we have it, and now Kyrian Boon as well. especially if you craft the new Lego plus the new Soulbind from Mykonos, I believe. If you do that, you have like your Kyrian boon almost every pull, and Kyrian boon can do a lot of healing and a lot of damage. It deals like 5-6k DPS and like 7-8k HPS. It's an incredible powerful ability, and especially if you atone before you cast it, you can do a lot of healing. There's a lot of potential healing and a lot of potential damage. Like if you would spread out your dots and then use Kyrian boon, you could do a lot of damage. Now, next boss, pretty difficult boss. However, as priests, there's one trick we can use, which is essentially Mass Dispel. It's not really a trick, it's just using our ability. And I decide here to leave Dilbur on his own. I told him to alter time, so he alter times here, and he's full. So that way I could save my mass Dispel. And this is good because it puts his alter time on CD, so he will probably get one more usage at least throughout this fight. And now watch the rotation, So Shadow Mending. Now I have Atonement on both of them, so I'm DPSing, I'm helping with DPS. And Mass Dispel. I told Rogue, don't cloak this. Don't cloak, don't ice block, I got this. I Mass Dispel them both. And now smite, heal the people. Notice how I'm shielding them both. Now they both have atonements and I'm healing through atonements. But I'm also ready to react. If I see them dropping low, I would heal them. I'm ready to do that if needed. And I also have Rapture. So for the next Phantasmal Parasite, I Rapture everybody. And I'm gonna Dispel Dilbur, because earlier he used Alter Time, so it's on CD now. But I tell Rogue to cloak. Rogue cloaks. Dilbur still has Ice Block, has Alter Time, we're looking very healthy. Ugly has Turtle. I have my Desperate Prayer and I have my Fade if needed. And of course Tank doesn't really worry about that too much. And here I'm waiting, goddamn spell queue. That was kind of a waste of time, to be honest. And I missed my Mass Dispel because we kind of scattered, but that's okay. I'll just pick up with the normal Dispel, the ones I missed. Here I noticed I'm kind of low on mana, so I start gathering these mana orbs. But notice how I'm doing it after I popped Boon, because now I have like a little bit of extra speed, so I popped Boon to just kind of like get a little boost. It's just these like small optimizations make your life easier. And this is not I don't even consider this being like a good player. This is just to me like common sense, but I understand that if you don't play game a lot, it's hard to see these things. That's why I like to talk about these things, and that's why I make these videos, because I'm kind of hoping that some of you play a class that's similar to this, or even you play Disc Priest maybe. And I know there's not a lot of guides out there, there's not a lot of content for Disc Priests out there, and some of the Disc Priests are amazing, but perhaps even too good, so like they're hard to copy. But I know the things I'm doing are pretty mediocre, and I know most of you can just do similar to how I do, but in your own free like interpretation, and get the similar results. So I really, that's kind of the point of all of this, that I really hope that it helps you even a little bit, guys. And once again, if I said 5.5 was a lot on the first boss, 6.6 is even more. This is really big HPS, and it was very heavy on my mana though, but it worked. That's why we have mana. But you know, this here more healing is also done because of anima powers. Don't forget that. Like here I have mana and I have haste, so that's also part of the reason. And now we proceed on to Gorchop Wing. We're almost done with percentages. Here, notice how I will do a couple of clutch dispels with fear and with pushing. And the reason why I want you guys to notice that is because Withering Touch, I believe it's called. Is it Withering Touch? Yes, no, Withering Discharge. Something like that. Withering something is that these guys do. And that ability, if it goes off, I don't want to say almost guaranteed wipe, but it definitely causes a lot of issues. The debuff reduces your damage and healing done by, I believe, 20%, and it stacks. So please interrupt that. That is your only thing you really need to interrupt here. You can even let chops go. You can even let these like morbid flashes or whatever the fudge they're called, all these abilities, you can let them go. They will slow down the kill a bit, but they will not wipe you. and they do not cause a lot of additional problems, but Withering Discharge does, and that was like a clutch dispel there by interrupted by gold. I should have interrupted that as well. I had Shining Force ready, but I just didn't see, to be honest. I was watching, like, I was focusing on dealing damage, to be completely honest. And the biggest difficulty of this wing, in my opinion, is like the camera angles, similarly to how getting a little bit of Sanguine Depths flashbacks. And yeah, here we had like a weird situation where we tried to pull the mini boss, the Tormented Lieutenant or whatever they're called. I like to call this guy a budget Kel'Thuzad.
Remove it at the source.
I don't know, he kind of looks like Kel'Thuzad to me. And he uses like similar frost abilities as well, so he just kind of reminds me of Kel'Thuzad. Yeah, so he's called Oros Cold Heart. I never paid attention because I usually panic too much. Oros Cold Heart. Okay, that's a gold name. I think I'll just call him Oreos from now on and just get hungry every time I have to fight him. But yeah, essentially the nasty part about this guy, we debated about pulling him into the pack, but we concluded that in this tight corridor that would be too difficult, and I think that proved to be a wise decision, because you could have seen how, like, I don't want to say difficult, but a little bit tight on dodging space here, so it gets scarier than it needs to be. And I think in like, if we also pull the pack with him, this would have been pretty difficult pull, so I don't really see a reason to do that. And here I believe we will shroud through. Yeah, I think we should shroud through here. And then heading into the next corridor. This pull quite interesting and quite simple. At this point I'm already in like sort of like thinking about CDs situation where I don't want to like commit any too big CDs because we're fighting Gorchop next, so I kind of want to, you know, save them. But I think at this point I'm still good to use 3 minutes. I'm actually not sure. Let's take a look together. 9:30 when I said that. 10 minutes when we entered the pack. So let's see if we'll fight Gorchop before 7 minutes. Let's pay attention together. Maybe I'll learn something as well. But either way, I commit Shadowfin here because either way, like, Gorchop fight will last about 2 to 4 minutes. I'm not sure at this point myself. I mean, when I was playing, I wasn't sure at that point anymore. So I just know that I'll get Shadowfin for sure back for the fight, and that even if I use it early, I'm not gonna have to use this ideally, so I might as well commit it now. And I think I might even use Kyrian Boon at some point, but I can also see myself saving it, to be honest. Here I barely made it, and I almost lost gold because of it. I should have toofed him, and okay, as I say that, I toofed him. That's a good choice by me, but also good job by gold for living that long. I believe he said that he got hit by the rancid gas. So is it called rancid gas, or am I? His fart and burp ability. So that was kind of scary, but he lived. So that's really good. And yeah, we're just clapping these guys' cheek, you know, nothing special here, nothing going on, just balancing, smiting, you know, and atoning person that need persons, gotta stop saying persons, but yeah, atoning people that need healing, you know, just standard this stuff. So let's say 10 minutes, I said 7. So no, I will not have Shadowfin back, but, so I'm glad I didn't commit Kyrian Boon, but I did use Shadowfin, and I think that's okay, because I can use Kyrian Boon now, and I'll have Shadowfin afterwards, so we're totally fine. CD usage here was good, not optimal though, we could have squeezed in another CD, but I'm happy with this. If I use Kyrian Boon on the first pack, I would have had it in about 40 seconds by now, and I probably won't even use it by that point, so just saying how, you know, we have like this meme saying, me and my friends group in the guild, when we talk about, you know, whenever somebody asks, like, I mean, you guys have probably heard of this. I don't think we invented that, but it's just the saying we use. When somebody asks when do I use CDs, we jokingly say early and often, and I feel like those are really words to live by in M+. Like, sure, sometimes for specific pulls you need specific CDs, but most of the time your CDs are just best used as soon as they're up. Let's be realistic. And I don't mean like mindlessly bash all the buttons and just like go like press every CD ever. No, it's more as a way of like not saving CDs. Like whenever somebody has low overall damage in the dungeon, you should open logs and compare, or healing or damage reduced as a tank, although I don't think logs work that well for healers and tanks, to be honest, completely with you, but you can still get a reference point. Like you can open logs of a player that you know is better than you, somebody who timed high keys, and look at their usages. So either way, regardless of your output, whether it's damage or healing, your like used abilities should look the same. If they don't, that means you're doing something wrong. You're prioritizing wrong abilities, and that's why you're wasting a lot of value. So you should look at the logs of somebody better. That's what I do. I open, I don't know, mode or Hydra Mist, although Hydra Mist doesn't do keys, but you know, I don't know, Automatic Jack and somebody like that, somebody who you know is like a valued person in the community of Discipline Priest or whatever class you're trying to learn, and I just open their logs and I look through dungeon and I see, this guy used 20 ruptures in this dungeon, but I only used 10. That clearly indicates that I am not using my CD properly, like I'm wasting half of the uses potentially. Or he cast 300 penances, I've only cast 250 penances. That probably means I'm not casting penance off CD. That probably means I need to get like a weak aura or something to tell me when the penance is up, because I'm not utilizing it as much. Same for Solace, same for whatever CD or ability you have. This is just like a general advice, unconnected to this key and to gameplay as disc, but like just in general, comparing your spell usage on the logs to the players you know are better than you is a very good way to learn what you're doing wrong. And that's what I used for raids. For keys, not as much, but for raids I have used that a lot, and it has definitely helped me. You know, if you see somebody smiting more than you, but still having more healing than you, then that means they're just timing their abilities better and stuff like that. That disc is a bit specific though, because disc is all about timers in both raid and M+, like, and all about those atonements and burst windows, and so we are a little bit specific, but yeah. And here I PI Ugly because he's a hunter, and you know, hunter has this nice CD, Wild Spirits, that completely, perfectly, beautifully syncs with our power infusion. So this is why I love using power infusion on hunters, and your hunters will love you for it. I just wish Ugly had antlers, because it's better single target damage. So it would be way more effective on bosses, but at least for Tyrannical week I think that would be worth it, but on non-Tyrannical weeks I think it's still better to run the Serpent one. I don't really have that much knowledge about hunters, I just know they really pop off when we PI them for those big burst windows with the Wild Spirits. But yeah, this boss is relatively simple until it gets to like 50% HP or whatever he phases. Just walk out of these hands, like just keep walking, you're completely fine. You can put Angelic Feather for you if you want to, you don't even have to though. And I like to atone people before this, either through Radiance or through just 5 shields, simply because at that time we're not really able to cast that much Shadowlands because we have to move. So you want to have that option of like passive healing through dots on the boss, and also through penancing the boss and solacing and maybe a few smites or whatever. Just having that as an option, and you can also click your Shadow Fiend if you need to, so that's a lot of passive healing. And here again another Radiance right before he does a Grasping Rift, so notice these abilities are not used by accident here. Although that Radiance was a bit too early though, and here Dome to prevent his damage from these Deadbolts, really big Dome. Stand in it to reduce a lot of these outgoing damage, and then Watch out for these rhinos or whatever the fuck they are. Oh, I said they are 4 again. Sorry, guys. So just watch out for them. Don't get hit by that. And here we get another PI into Wild Spirits. Beautiful. And watch my counter go up on the meters. Another Grasping Rift. And again on us. Very unlucky. But either way, we still timed this key. Honestly, we made this key look easy. If you think about it, one of the deaths was simply because we got unlucky with Arbalist and the AoE from the Tormentor. And then 2 deaths were literally because me and Ugly, like, we got hit by the bomb on the way to Kulta Rock while we were picking up the power. So yeah, we honestly really well done by the team, and I'm really proud of myself and proud of them. And I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I really hope you liked it. I hope you guys either learned or you had fun. And you know, like, comment, subscribe if you want to. Any sort of feedback is appreciated, and let me know if you have any questions in the comments. Much love, guys. Take care and have a wonderful day.